we will switch over to the building a portfolio segment. And so actually, before I introduce the first speaker, just to give some context to this session, we wanted to bring in some real experts, kind of distinguished experts in the field to give you a feel using kind of different tools, different angles, how you can build a portfolio to put some work out there and kind of show people, not just tell them, but show them what skills you have and how you can actually apply those skills to solve problems, and just demonstrate your value, your personal value proposition as an analyst. So that's what the session is all about. And the first speaker is going to be Sekou Tyler. I'm going to bring Sekou up onto the screen. Welcome, Sekou.
Hello.
Hi there. So Sekou, I actually got the chance to meet you out on the floor of Tableau conference last year, I believe. So Sekou has had a bunch of progressive experience in the data analytics field, and actually so much so that he just founded his own company, Royal Blue Analytics. There, yep, had the shirt on, looks great, very cool. So congrats on starting that. And I won't talk too much more. I want to turn it over to you and let you take the next 10 minutes or so to kind of share your expertise on this topic.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm excited to get into it. Let me get my screen showing, and we will hop right into everything. All right. So we're going to talk through how to build a portfolio showcasing your work. As Dustin mentioned, I'm Sekou Tyler, and follow me on social media as at SQLSEKOU on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those ones, Snapchat, all that stuff. And then Sekou on YouTube. I'm so close to 1,000 followers. Please subscribe if you are looking at this. That'd be great. But as Dustin mentioned, I'm a highly experienced, results-driven founder analytics of my own company. But before then, I've had 10 years of experience in various roles, all the way from data analyst all the way up to managing director. So kind of seen it all. Done a lot of things here. But certifications, Databricks, Tableau, Power BI. I just took this Microsoft Fabric one. I don't know if I passed or not. We'll see. Alteryx designer. And then as far as community initiative, I co-lead Nashville Power BI and the Tableau user group here in Nashville. I am a current Tableau social ambassador, and then 10 Minute Tuesday podcast where I talk to people in the data community. But you didn't come here to hear that specifically from me. You came to hear talk about a portfolio. So here is what we want to do when it comes to gathering and creating a public portfolio. What you want to do is take inventory of all your projects. You want to look at your projects that you have built out, that you have created, and identify what you created for public purposes. So I'm putting emphasis on public. You want to make sure that the information that you're showing can be used for public consumption. You do not want to use proprietary data that you use at a organization or that you don't have access to show off. So to alleviate all that, make sure the information that you're showing is public. These could be projects that you've done for personal development, academic research, and then public data sets that are available on the web. Here are some of my favorite websites that are out there that I've used before. One of my favorites is Real World Fake Data. You also have Mockaroo, which is a place where you can kind of create different elements depending on the use case that you're trying to build out. Makeover Monday, Workout Wednesday, Kaggle. This one's a recent one that I found, but data search at research.google.com. You kind of type in a data set that you might be looking for. And then Wikipedia has stuff on there. Don't sleep on Wikipedia, but they have a lot of great stuff on there as well. When it comes to use cases, I like to put them in different buckets. So as someone who's looking for a role, I think you should have two different elements. I think you definitely need to have a professional portfolio. So some of these are industry specific type of dashboards or reports. So you want to have like a healthcare one, a finance, sales, operations. So if you're going for a healthcare job, of course, you're using modified, made up public data, like you can make up patient IDs or hospital names, whatever it is. But you want to make sure that you have a particular use case for that specific industry. So if you're going for that job, once you send that resume and you talk to someone, you could fire off your portfolio that has a healthcare specific dashboard to it. Same thing for finance, sales, operations. And then I like to do personal ones. So for me, it's helped me understand some of the new advanced features that are coming out in the product itself. So whether it's Power BI, Tableau, Looker Studio, or even Excel, for me, these are fun because it kind of breaks up the day in and day out report building that I'm doing. I can look at the new features, and then I'm using personal data that I know that I can kind of learn some of these new things that have come out. And then you can create dashboards that make you happy. Sometimes we just want to build some stuff out that's fun. And then it can be easier to understand fundamental data, storytelling concepts with your personal data. So I like to say sometimes there's a relationship with the data. For me personally, I like sports. So a lot of stuff on my public portfolio under my blog name is like sports related, just because I enjoy doing that. I enjoy looking at different information. I kind of know what's going on. So it's easier for me to translate to the storytelling component in that regard. So here are different ways to host a portfolio, showcase a portfolio. Me personally, I believe having a dedicated website is number one. So whether you have a blog site or you have your first name, last name. So example, if you have Sekou.Tyler or SekouTyler.com or whatever it is, I believe in this day and age, you probably need to have a personal website just so you can easily host stuff on there. If you don't want to have a website, there is GitHub pages that you can leverage. It is a free platform where you can host static images or static websites on there. LinkedIn, as we know, has a lot of people that are posting stuff and highlighting stuff, and you can embed stuff. So LinkedIn is a great place. From Power BI perspective, there is a community website that I'll show you quickly. And then there's Novo Pro as well, which is a new one that I just found, where a lot of BI developers, data analysts are posting stuff on there. So to quickly show you what that looks like from a portfolio standpoint, if you go to my website, royalblueanalytics.com portfolio, we see that someone comes in here, they click on portfolio. I already have 4 different visuals, dashboards that are there. 2 are Tableau, 2 are Power BI. It's right there at the hands. They can actually interact with it. If you don't want to use a personal website, here's what GitHub Pages looks like. Is basically a place you can come and create a static website. There's a lot of stuff out here, a lot of information, and there's a lot of information out on Google. If you want to start using this from a Power BI perspective, this is called Data Stories Gallery. So what this concept is basically you can create a public dashboard visualization and submit your data story onto the Microsoft forums. And then it kind of lives here as a repository of current reports that have been built out. So you can kind of leverage that as a place to host your stuff. But then the new one, as I mentioned, is Novi Pro. So this one's really cool. I think this one's really fascinating. I've seen where multiple people use different products to host different things here. And you kind of set it up, you log in, and then you kind of can get inspiration of what's going on. But then also you can kind of store your information too. You can see who's liked it, so on and so forth. So these are different places where you can actually host your sites, host your dashboards, I should say, using information. So that is platform for hosting. If we want to look specifically at Power BI, the first step with Power BI is Power BI Desktop. You're going to go to powerbi.microsoft.com, navigate to download section. Caveat here is that it does only work for Windows machines. So if you're using a Mac, you will need to either use a virtual desktop or use Parallels or some way to get Power BI Windows onto your local machine in order to download it. So sorry, Mac users, but that is kind of a caveat here if you're trying to use Power BI Desktop. Once you do have that, you will need to create a Power BI service account. So to ensure you have Power BI service account, you will need a specific domain. Gmail accounts are not able to be used at this moment. So if you do have your website domain, so like I said, Sekou Tyler at gmail.com. I'm sorry, SekouTyler.com. I could then create a workspace and create a Power BI account that way because I have my own account. From there, you want to actually create a report. So it's very important that you actually create reports there because you're going to have reports, you can't publish them. So make sure you create and generate a report. And then you want to publish it, and then you want to go to embed settings, generate embed code, insert code into a website, just to show you what that looks like. This is what it looks like when you're actually in the workspace. So once you've created a report, there is a link that you can actually use to publish the web. So for this example, I recommend Publish the Web, and as you publish the web, and as you can see, it is public. So you want to make sure that everything that you are pushing out is public facing and can be downloaded, and there's no interruptions there. And then you will generate a embed code that looks specifically like this. So if you want to do a URL, you have that, or you can do HTML iframe to where you can embed it into your website as well. So just show you what that quickly looks like in your workspace. You have a report. If you go to File, go to Embed Report, Publish the Web, you now see that you have the HTML code that you can copy and paste into your website. So you can embed it. And what that looks like is if I want to connect to my Royal Blue Analytics site, select View. Now I have it here. It's embedded, and I can actually interact with the report itself. So this is what embedding looks like on the website. So that way you can host it. Another way of this is if you don't want to pay for it, you don't want to build out a blog site, you don't want to build a domain, and all you have access to is a Google account, you can use Looker Studio. And Looker Studio is free with a Google account. And to generate it, you just need to have a Google account. And then you go to datastudio.google.com. And it's a similar process as well. You need to create a report, make sure you're using public data, make sure you're bringing in a CSV, an Excel file, whatever it is. create a report on top of that. And then from there, you can do the exact same concepts where you can embed a report to a website, log in, customize the settings, and then generate embed codes. So what this looks like from Looker Studio is you have the ability to select the embed report, which will generate a code. And then from there, you will embed the code. It will do the exact same iframe that we just saw from Power BI example. And then you have the ability to then pull that into your website if you want to use this technique, or you can just do still images as well. So just to show you what that looks like from a Looker Studio perspective, here is a Kobe Bryant dashboard that I built out. He's my favorite basketball player, so I wanted to recreate it. But say I wanted to come in here and actually publish this to my blog site. If I select edit and select share and select embed report, we see now that I have enable embedding. So I need to enable it, but then I actually have the code as well. Or if I have just a URL, I don't want to necessarily embed it into my website. I just want to generate the URL. I can do that as well. And then I can dictate the width and height of it on here. So if I want to look at just 600 by 433, or if I want to change the width to be 800 or my height to be 600, I have the ability to do that quickly as well. So this is how you can generate and use different tools at your disposal to build out that portfolio. All right, next, we want to make sure that we prepare our results, prepare our projects for display, ensure that our projects are ready for display, clean the visuals, add descriptions, add information, remove, again, any sensitive or confidential information, make sure it's publicly facing and ready to go, and that you can really show this information, what you're showing off. Create a portfolio page. So if you are using a personal website or GitHub page, just have a separate section there that says portfolio for your Power BI or Looker Studio projects. And then add proper context. The goal is, if I hand it off to you, have enough information that the end user who is looking at this can understand what's going on. And then you want to see what problem that you solve, or what did you do, what technique, and any additional information that you want to have. You kind of want to have that in your dashboard, in your report, to show that information. And then add screenshots to embed a report. So if you go to Power BI route, but then you don't have a service account, it's okay. If you have Power BI desktop, you can embed images of what your thought process is, or your design style, or just have anything in general. But again, I prefer to embed them. I think you should have it. It's much easier to send off a website to someone. They can click around, see your kind of filter actions, and just how your brain is with your reporting. But then you want to make sure the visuals are clear, easy to understand. And then if you're embedding it, make sure that it's interactive and allow users to explore the data and really use some of the storytelling techniques. And then publish it. Once you're there, make sure you publish your portfolio. Once you're satisfied with it, make sure you're good, you're happy, and then share it, blast it out, put it into your network, send it to recruiters, send it to hiring managers. What I've done with every single contract or project that I've had, if someone's interested in me, I make sure that I talk to them, but then I also send like, hey, here's a link to my portfolio. Here's a current thing that we're working on. Send it off. That way you can give more additional context to kind of how your style is, and then post it on professional networking sites, relevant forums, and then communities. And then make sure you update regularly. So if you built out a dashboard last year that has 2023 data, or you built out something 2022, make sure you go back and update the dates. It just makes it look a lot cleaner. And then it also shows, kind of the new things that have come out, if you can enhance what you build because of new updates of the product itself. So an example of what a finished product can look like and what I've done before, this is my sequelseku.com blog. What I did with Kobe Bryant is the exact same data set, but I embedded it all into the same page. So I have Looker Studio, Google Data Studio in one. I have my Tableau Public portfolio on here as well. And then I have Power BI. And what I did was I wanted to show what the exact same design style storytelling is, but I'm using 3 different tools. So by doing this, like, you can easily hand this off, send this to somebody, and then they're able to see kind of your style and then how you interact with different products. So with that, that's all I got. So scan the QR code. I have a PDF pager on here to get my PDF document for the 10 steps that I walk through, and reach out to me if you have any questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sekou. That was awesome. I'll leave the QR code up here for just a second as I address one question, actually kind of a combination of questions. So one thing that did come up in a few questions was just kind of your thoughts on using personal website versus some of the other portfolio sites that are out there. Do you have a personal preference in terms of getting your work published out and exposure to it? What's your thoughts on that, personal versus some of the other portfolio sites?
Yeah, so for me, I'm kind of a control freak about ownership. So I prefer to own as much stuff on my own platform as possible. But then if I'm doing it the right way, if I've embedded it and have a hyperlink out there, I can share it to other stuff as well. But I want people to come to my stuff and they see my information and see kind of my layout and different things. So for me, from that perspective, that's where I lean on. And the investment of having a domain is a worthy one personally. But I'm not against the other sites, but it's for me, I'd rather have it on my own site as well.
Awesome. Perfect. Very cool. Thanks again so much for the session. And I know some folks are asking about links to everything that you shared. Yes, for sure. We'll be sending out a recap, I promise, with everything packaged into it. Also, I think, Brandy, you shared, while Sekou was talking, some links to his content as well. And then be sure to check out his company too. And he's just a great guy to follow and know in the field. So thank you very much, Sekou.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Take care. All right.
That was awesome. And so much wonderful content. We're going to keep the ball rolling here. I've talked a bit about my experience, which happens to be in Tableau. So seeing what Sekou was just sharing with Power BI, I think is really fascinating. I don't have a lot of exposure to Power BI. So it's always great to learn. And I think, there was a question in the chat about, do you need to have skills in a lot of different tools? And, it's never bad, but the answer is no, you don't have to. I think, I think Andy's going to address this in his presentation just briefly. So I'm really excited to get to it. Practically everyone in the Tableau community knows Andy Kriebel. And I don't know if he remembers this, but I actually first connected with him just before the 2017 Tableau conference, because he used to organize these morning jogs for anybody who wanted to participate. And so that was actually how I first kind of got connected with him. But he's, just my entire career in Tableau, in the Tableau space, he's been an idol. And I greatly admire his work, which is why it's super exciting that he's able to be here with us today and share a bit of his knowledge. So Andy, thank you so much for being here. I'll turn it over to you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I assume you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect.
great. Okay, now I need to share my screen. Thank you, everybody, for letting me present to you today. It's always an honor. And I need to share my screen. There we go. Okay, so we're up and running. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Andy Kriebel. I've been using Tableau since April 11th of 2007. I've had a lot of really fortunate things happen to me in my Tableau career. I got to speak at the very first Tableau conference in 2008. There were 125 customers there, or 125 people there. I started the first Tableau user group, started the first 2 community projects in Makeover Monday and Workout Wednesday, first blog, first YouTube channel. What else? Lots of different things. But it's been one of the things I've enjoyed most about the Tableau community is giving back to people and giving freely and not expecting anything in return. And that's what I've done for most of my career. So for those of you that have interacted with me, checked out my visualizations, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and it encourages me to keep doing that for other people. But this presentation is about building a Tableau Public profile. And to me, one of the most important things about Tableau is the community. So in an effort to be as lazy as possible with building this presentation, I thought I would crowdsource the problem to prove the value of the community. So I put a couple of questions out there, one on Slack and one on LinkedIn. And it was, the first one on Slack is, I'm giving a talk on Friday. What do you wish someone had told you before you started? And then on LinkedIn, in 8 words or less, why should someone build a data viz portfolio? Which is basically my entire presentation. So I got 52 unique people to respond offering advice. And this presentation is my effort to take all of their answers and turn them off as if they were mine. So thank you very much. There were 3 main things that came out of, 3 main themes that came out of all of those responses: skills, career, and community. And those are the 3 things I'm going to take you through. First is skills. There are tons and tons of different ways you can build your skills. And it gets very overwhelming very, very quickly, especially now. When I first started using Tableau, there really wasn't much of there was a community, but there weren't tons of projects and data sets, and there weren't that many people even. So it was much easier to kind of create your own path. Now it's incredibly difficult, and it's when you're new, where do you start? Where do you need to turn? And my advice for you is first make a list of skills you want to build, and then just pick one. Focus on one thing. And then once you become really good at that one thing, move on to the next thing. So your first thing might be, I want to get really good at building simple charts. Great. Focus on that. Become really, really good at building simple charts. And by the way, if you're creating dashboards at work, you're going to build nothing but simple charts, most likely. You're going to be building lots of bar charts, lots of line charts, and lots of big numbers. If you get good at those three things, you're going to knock out probably 90% of what you need to do at work. And then maybe the next thing you want to do is you want to become really good at calculations. So find resources that are good at teaching calculations. Maybe try Workout Wednesday to get into the more complicated things. And I'm going to go through some of those resources here in a bit. But I'm going to take you through a few portfolios to demonstrate the things that I'm talking about. The first thing you could do is you could develop a style. Now, this is by Ellen Blackburn, who is a consultant at the Information Lab. She went through the data school that I used to run. I should have also mentioned, I was the first ever Tableau user at Coca-Cola, and I think they have 100,000 licenses now. And then I helped start the data school in 2015. Ellen was in our 9th cohort, and it's really, really clear, even just looking at these little tiles from her Tableau Public profile, that she has a style. All of her information communicates. It's all very simple, very clear. You see lots of bar charts, lots of line charts, really good use of color. Pastels, which it's just kind of what she's known for. And they all just look really beautiful, really elegant, and really simple. And that's the style that has become part of Ellen's brand. And every visualization she creates will fit in well with this style. You could also develop your skills by becoming more creative. So you have to start somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere, and none of us are any good when we start. So if you look at somebody's Tableau Public profile and all you see are incredible visualizations, then they're hiding lots of things. My advice is to never hide anything on your Tableau Public profile. Everything that you produce should be unhidden. And you do that because it shows a progression in your work. And I'll get to that in a minute when I talk about careers. But this is by Shreya Arya, who now runs the Back to Viz Basics project along with Eric Balash. And you can see the variety of her visualizations. These are all incredibly unique. Ellen's all look relatively similar, right? The themes are very similar. But Shreya is much more creative from a design perspective, right? There's lots of really different styles of visualizations, much more artistic looking. Shreya also has gone through my training program at the data school. And then you could also use it to learn new techniques. So Serena Perslow, who also went through the data school, if I go back to the very beginning of her profile, you'll see her application to the data school. You'll see some of the things she built in the first couple of weeks. It's nothing like what you're seeing here on the screen. And a lot of her work has been on the focus on developing techniques and skills. So she's looking for specific ways, particularly around calculations. Now, all her visualizations, these all look really, a lot of them look really fancy, probably hard to build. But what she's trying to develop is her skill in calculations. And I would encourage you to start by mastering the basics. There's 4 projects. They're all out on the Tableau community. Makeover Monday, which gives you a brand new data set to make over, and a brand new data set every single week. A visualization and a data set every week for you to make over. The idea there is you're going to get to work with different data every week. So it takes you out of one of the benefits of Makeover Monday is it takes you away from the data you're used to seeing every day. And it gives you this kind of free space to try new things. Some people use it as a way to go back and build and start with the basics. Other people use it as a way to create something as visually stunning as they possibly can. So it runs the whole gamut of things there. There's over 400 unique data sets for you to use for Makeover Monday. And a lot of people in the community get their start with Makeover Monday. Of all of the visionaries from Tableau, I think about 60 or 70% of them started with Makeover Monday because it was just a way to easily get involved in the community. Real simple data sets, they're all clean, and you're off to a good starting spot. There's also Back to Viz Basics. And what I really like about Back to Viz Basics is they focus on a particular chart type every week. So I've done it a few times. One of the weeks was build your best bar chart. So I tried to build as many different bar charts as I could with their data set that they provide and see which one I liked the best. And then the next week was line charts, and you needed to build lots and lots of line charts. And then there were spark lines, and there were heat maps, and all these different chart types that are really important for you to get really, really good at. Storytelling with Data is run by Cole Nussbaumer. That is a monthly project where she also gives you a theme and some data set. It's very similar to Makeover Monday, except it's done on a monthly basis. And then I really, really like real world fake data because it gives you lots of examples of dashboards that you can use as templates. So with real world fake data, they give you a data set about a particular topic or a particular industry. So it might be call center data. It might be for sales data. It could be marketing, whatever it might be. They give you a different data set for every time the project runs. I don't remember the frequency of real world fake data. I think it's monthly. But then what's really great is on Tableau, most of these get published up to Tableau Public. And if you just search RWFD on Tableau Public, you'll see this incredible gallery of dashboards that are really useful in different industries. And that's the great thing about it. These are all super useful. You can download them, swap out your data, and use it for a template, and you're off and running. And once you get those once you master the basics, I would then move on to more of the more technical and creative type projects. Do not start at this level because you will get overwhelmed really quickly. So for example, I get messages from people who say, I can't figure out this workout Wednesday, whatever the message might be. And I'm, well, how long have you been using Tableau? Well, I've been using it for 2 weeks. Well, you're going to end up hating Tableau because these challenges are incredibly difficult. They're meant for people that have been using Tableau for a long time. The other projects like Sports Viz Sunday, that's another themed based community project where it's sports data every week. Iron Quest is a way for you to get feedback on Iron Viz submissions. And Project Health Viz is one to help you, is a way to help visualize healthcare data. And when you look at Tableau Public or you look at Viz of the Day, a lot of times you'll see a lot of really, really fancy visualizations. If you watch Iron Viz or look at any of the entries, they all look like they're just incredible, incredibly difficult to build. Don't let that discourage you because I don't know how to build any of those things. And honestly, I don't care to learn how to build those things. I want to get really good at the things that I'm good at. And other people, they're more than welcome to do that. That's just not my cup of tea. But make sure that you don't compare yourself to those people. Most of them have been using Tableau for a very long time. They're doing this as a one-off project. It's not something that will ever be reused anywhere else. I like to build content that I can reuse or other people can reuse. And then the second topic was careers. And what I'm noticing now is companies are looking less and less at where you went to school and what you studied, and more at what you've actually done. So this is where things like a portfolio come in handy. If I go back to Shreya and Serena and Ellen, if somebody just goes and looks at their Tableau Public profile, they're going to know they've got some serious skills. Do they need to know where they went to school? Probably not. The analogy that I like to give is if you needed to hire an interior designer, would you ever ask an interior designer where they went to school or what they studied? No, you would ask to see their portfolio. And that's the way that it's going with more and more companies. It's now becoming your Tableau Public profile or your Power BI profile, your data visualization profile is now the new CV, the new resume. So here's an example from Priya Padam. She also went through the data school. And you can see, again, she's got lots of variety. If you went out to her Tableau Public or you went out to Tableau Public looking for something with a really big variety of skills, They show excellent technical skills as far as, building business dashboards, lots of creativity, great use of color, a bit of creative flair. She has it all, right? So as soon as, if she ever needs to find a job, all she has to do is send a link out to her Tableau Public profile and say, here you go. Building a profile or a portfolio also helps get you noticed. So people get really, really excited by getting Visit of the Day, and they should. These are community-nominated visualizations that get published by Tableau every day. And I subscribe to it every day. And I like how, I like getting the daily email, because if it's something that I think I might find useful again, I'll go ahead, load it up or click on it, and then favorite it so it shows up in my favorites. So you can see in this screenshot I took here, the supermarket analysis by Kisley Benedict. I favorited that one because it's something that either I might want to try to replicate later. I might like to maybe reproduce maybe some of those KPIs, or I want to promote their work. That's why one of the things I like about Visit of the Day. And as I mentioned earlier, you should never delete anything from your Tableau Public profile. This is Lorna Brown's profile, or part of her profile. She has about 300 visualizations on her portfolio now. She started using Tableau in 2015. She was in our second cohort of the data school, and she's now one of the coaches at the data school, one of the lead trainers. And she also is a Tableau visionary, I think 4-time Tableau visionary. And you can see on the left-hand side, these are the first 9 visualizations that she created. Nothing fancy, right? You'll see some bar charts, okay use of color. But even if those first 9, you start seeing a progression in her work. But if you flip over to her more recent visualizations, look how much better they look, how much more space there is, the better use of color. So if somebody wanted to see an example of somebody going from just starting all the way through to what they're doing now, Lorna is a great example of that. And if I were a hiring manager, I would want to see if somebody has shown the ability to learn over time. And also consider creating a gallery. So this is just a GIF of my Tableau Public profile. I publish everything that I do onto Tableau Public because, first off, I'm proud of what I did. And I want other people to be able to use it, to download it, and to replicate some of the things that are in there. But I also keep a Google Photos album. So I take every visualization I create. Yes, it goes up on Tableau Public, but I might have created, 10 or 15 different visualizations to get to that final one. If I'd like some of those, but I didn't actually publish them, I'll take screenshots of them and load them up to a Google Photos album. So I've been doing this Google Photos album for the last, let me see, I think I might even have it on here. I don't. For the last, I think, since 2016. And I have about 1,200 different images on there. Now, it's not 1,200 unique workbooks or pieces of work. Some of them are different visualizations within the same project. But I want to remember how I did things. And if I ever need an example to show somebody, I now have that. So the 2 things there are create a profile on Tableau Public or wherever you need to, but then also create a photo album that you can share with people. I've also seen people use Pinterest to do that as well. And then the third thing that I heard was about community. And the reason you should be a part of a community is because it gives you a safe place to grow. It's a support network that will help you, encourage you, answer your questions. And it's really important that you engage with that community. There's a lot of lurkers, and there's nothing wrong with lurkers. But to get the most out of the community, I would encourage you to engage with it. Publish your own work. Ask for feedback. Contribute to conversations. Reach out to people that inspire you and ask them how they got where they are. And there's several different platforms to do it. These are the ones that are the most popular. So LinkedIn, X or Twitter, Threads, Slack, Tableau Public, the Tableau forums, and of course, my training program, Next Level Tableau. We have our own Slack in there that we also share and support each other. The other thing you can do in the community is be a leader. So these are 8 people that all went through the data school. And each of them started without knowing anything about Tableau. But they became really involved with the community. They wanted to share the work that they did. They developed great technical skills. And they were overall, very supportive of people. And all 8 of them became Tableau visionaries. So I already answered the question, but what do they all have in common? Well, they went through the data school, my training program. They've come up with, and they now have some incredible jobs. So Nico, who's right in the very middle, not with the bushy beard, but the one next to him, he now works for UNICEF. Used to work for the United Nations. Bethany on the bottom left in the striped shirt, she's now the head coach for the data school in Australia. You've got Gwilym in the very back center. He runs analytics at ASDA. We have Ravi Mistry, who's over there somewhere. Yeah, they're on kind of on the right-hand side there. He's the head of football analytics at Manchester City. Several of them work at Tableau as consultants now. So it's been really, really fun for me to see these people develop and to help lead them through that process. And then, of course, you need to think about the long-term benefits for yourself. As you build a portfolio, you're going to notice that jobs start coming to you. You're not really going to need to apply for jobs because headhunters now know where to look. They're going to see your profile and say, wow, this person has fantastic skills. It might give you the opportunity to live abroad or to work remotely. It'll free you up to have the lifestyle that you want. You'll have much more choice in leading your life the way you want. You'll find your people. You're going to find people that you have lots in common with. You're going to develop amazing skills. You're going to make friends for life. The Tableau conference for me is like a family reunion. And most of all, it's way too much fun and it's highly addictive. But I have a couple of caveats I want to leave you with. There's a few things you need to remember. Make sure if you're using somebody else's work as inspiration that you give them credit. On Tableau Public, when you upload a visualization, there is a spot on the bottom left-hand side where you can paste in the link of somebody that has inspired you. Please do that. Give people credit. For myself, I created the visual vocabulary. If you search Tableau Public, there's hundreds of copies of it out there. Almost none of them gave me credit for that. So if somebody doesn't know any better, they might think that that person created it. But ultimately, do it for yourself. As I mentioned, don't delete everything. Everybody started somewhere, so be careful of imposter syndrome. And one thing that's really started bothering me lately is people writing stuff, and you can tell it's clearly from ChatGPT. If I see you writing with lots of emojis and certain word structures that probably aren't very normal, and especially if I already know something about you and I know it's not the way that you talk, that really makes you look bad. Most importantly, have fun. My last piece of advice, my best advice for all of you is you need to just get started. But I want you to become so good at Tableau that you don't need my help anymore. And that's why I've created the Next Level Tableau training program. And I guarantee your success. If you join the program and you put in all of the work required to get to the level you want, then I will, and you don't get to the level you want, then I'll give you your money back, guaranteed, no questions asked. But we will have a chat about what is the effort that you put in, right? You need to put in the work to get to the level that you want to get to. And you might ask, well, why would you give this guarantee? Well, because I'm confident. I've seen my training program work. I've just shown you evidence of that. And here's some of the things you get. And I think Brandy just put a link in the on the live stream there. But you get live training with me 4 times a week or 3 times a week. You get access to all of the workshops I run once a month, office hours, on-demand training, hundreds of workbooks and data sources, progress tracking. We're developing Credly badges. And most importantly, it's what it's about, what's in it for you. So you get expert-led training, a really comprehensive learning program, ways to apply everything that you're learning, which is very important. It's an interactive and engaging format. We've built an incredibly supportive community, and the community is actually creating itself, which has been really, really fun to watch. So if you're interested, go to nextleveltableau.com. And I also write a weekly newsletter, which you can get at andykriebel.com. That's not necessarily Tableau specific. It's much more around data. So thank you very much, Brandy and Dustin.